12th Man Podcast. Let's talk sports. Let's talk dub. The 12th Man Podcast.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's Go Joe coming to you live from beautiful College Station, Texas, with your 12th Man Podcast for Week 7. As always, we'll take a look back at games from Week 6. We'll take a look at games for Week 7. We'll have a little bit of a Heisman update, and we'll do our top 3 offensive and defensive performances of Week 6. This episode of your 12-Man Podcast is brought to you proudly by 1835 Bourbon. 1835 Bourbon, Texan made, Texan proud. 1835 Bourbon, come and take it. Starting off in the ACC, Tennessee at number 20, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech pulls out a game 38-17. Good game for Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets just keep moving up in the poll as they're 4-2 on the season, but only 1-2 in conference play. Georgia at number 8, Arizona State. Arizona State Sun Devils 31, the Bulldogs 6. Let's take a quick look at the stats in that one. Arizona State had 17 first downs, 374 total yards of offense. They ran 44 plays, averaged 8.5 yards a play. They had 61 rushing yards for a 3.2 yard average, and they threw for 313 yards through the air and 4 passing touchdowns. Arizona State went 6-10 on third down conversions for 60%. Georgia was only able to muster 7 first downs on the day and 190 yards of total offense as the Sun Devils defense was stout and strong for the whole day. 35 total plays for Georgia, 5.4 yards of play. They rushed for 43 rushing yards but no touchdowns, averaged only 2.5 yards of rush. And they threw for 147 passing yards through the air and 1 passing touchdown. Georgia went 5-9 for 55% on third down conversions on the day. Now we look at number 23, Ole Miss at number 8, Clemson. Good game. Lots of points. It was a barn burner. Let's take a look at the stats from that one. Ole Miss had 29 first downs to Clemson's 30. Ole Miss had 691 yards total offense to 624 for Clemson. Ole Miss ran 64 plays, averaged 10.8 yards a play. They had 279 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and they added 412 passing yards and 5 passing touchdowns. But they went 1 of 6 on third down conversions for 16%. Your Clemson Tigers, they also ran 64 plays and averaged 9.8 yards a play. They rushed for 245 rushing yards, but had 4 rushing touchdowns. And they added 379 passing yards through the air for another 4 passing touchdowns. Story of the day, third down, folks. Clemson went 6-10 on third down conversions for 60%. Number 25, Pittsburgh at Florida State. Florida State pulls off the upset, 35-14. Jumping over to the Big 12, Auburn hosting Houston at home. Auburn 21, Cougars 7. Let's take a look at that one real quick. Auburn had 17 first downs, 250 yards of total offense. They ran 50 plays, 5.1 yards a play. They had 85 rushing yards but no rushing touchdowns and threw for 168 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Auburn only managed 3 of 9 for 33% on third down conversions on the day. Good win for the Auburn Tigers. Jumping over to the Big 10, UCLA at number 4, Ohio State. Ohio State blew them out, 65-14. Let's take a quick look at it. Break it down for you. Ohio State, 10-0 after 1. At the half, it was Ohio State 38, UCLA nothing. After 3, it was Ohio State 52, UCLA Bruins zilch. But UCLA Bruins, if there was a bright spot, outscored Ohio State in trash time in the fourth quarter, 14-13. Let's take a quick look at the stats. UCLA had 21 first downs. Ohio State had 20. UCLA put up 354 yards of total offense, 65 plays, 5.4 yards a play. They rushed for 111 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown while adding 243 passing yards through the air with a passing touchdown. They went 6-14 on third down conversions for 42%. The Ohio State Buckeyes, they put up 547 yards of total offense. They ran 41 plays, averaged 13.3 yards a play. They rushed the ball for 289 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns and added 258 passing yards through the air with 5 passing touchdowns. Story of the day in this one, other than the big score, Ohio State 6 of 7 for 85% on third down conversions. Number 19, Notre Dame, and number 1, Oregon. Oregon pulls out the win, 35-14. It was never in doubt. Oregon had 20 first downs. Notre Dame had 24. Notre Dame put up 345 yards of total offense. 66 plays, averaged 5.2 yards a play. Rushed for 156 rushing yards, but no rushing touchdowns, and managed only 189 yards to the air with 1 passing touchdown. Notre Dame was 6 of 13 for 46% on third down conversions. Oregon put up 436 yards of total offense, 39 plays, 11.2 yards a play. They rushed the ball 23 times for 242 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, and added 194 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns to the air. Oregon, 5 of 6 for 83% on third down conversions. Washington hosting Penn State at home. Huskies 31, Nittany Lions 28 in a close one. Let's take a look at the game real quick in your stats. It was tied after 1. Washington took a 17-14 lead into the half, and then they traded scores all throughout the third and fourth for your final score of 31-28. Like I said, nail biter, but I don't think it was ever a doubt that the Huskies were going to pull it out. Huskies had 21 first downs, 483 yards of total offense. They ran 57 plays, averaged 8.5 yards a play. They rushed the ball 27 times for 110 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. And they added 373 passing yards to the air and 3 passing touchdowns. The Huskies went 4 of 9 on third down conversions for 44%. Number 2, USC hosting Nebraska, another close game. USC outlasts the Huskers at home, 56-28. Taking a look at your score, it was all USC in the first half as they put up 21 to blank Nebraska in the first quarter. It was 35-7 at the half, but Nebraska tried to make it close. But USC, the Trojans weren't having it, and let me tell you why. 27 first downs, 473 yards of total offense. They ran 71 plays, averaged 6.7 yards a play. They rushed the ball 39 times for 238 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, while adding 235 passing yards and 5 passing touchdowns to the air. The Trojans went 10 of 15 for 66% on third down conversions, while holding the Huskers to 3 of 10 for 30%. Now we jump down to the SEC, number 13, Miami, and number 3, Oklahoma. Oklahoma 48, Miami 35. Oklahoma jumped out on Miami early, 14-0. At the half, it was 28-14. They traded scores in the third, and Miami tried to make it interesting in the fourth, but they couldn't muster enough offense to get past the Sooners. I say that, but Miami had 18 first downs, 519 yards of total offense, but it still wasn't enough. 47 total plays for 11 yards a play, 121 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Miami Hurricanes, 398 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. They went 5 of 8 on third down conversions for 62%. Oklahoma put up 25 first downs, 431 yards of total offense. They ran 54 plays, averaged 8 yards a play. They rushed the ball 23 times for 103 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, while adding 328 passing yards to the air and 3 passing touchdowns. The Sooners were a dismal 1 of 4 on third down conversions for 25%. LSU, at Mississippi State. LSU, not ever a doubt, easy peasy, walking on water. LSU Tigers 51, Mississippi State 21. The Cowbells didn't stop the Tigers in that one. Number 5, Alabama, and number 9, UCF, another close one. Bama pulls it out 38-31. But the Black Knights put up a fight the whole game. Alabama in the first quarter, 14, UCF nothing. At the half, it was 24-6. But UCF stormed back in the third, putting up 22 to make things interesting. But they didn't have enough in the fourth quarter as the Roll Tide put up 14 more. 19 first downs for the Crimson Tide, 301 yards of total offense. They ran 54 plays for 5.6 yards a play. They rushed the ball 23 times for 86 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown while adding 215 yards to the air and another 2 touchdowns throwing the ball. 6 of 11 on third down conversions for the Crimson Tide for 54%. The Black Knights had 21 first downs, 442 yards of total offense. They ran 63 plays, averaged 7.0 yards a play. They rushed the ball 17 times for 89 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns and added 353 passing yards and a passing touchdown through the air. The UCF Black Knights went 4 of 12 on third down conversions for 33%. Number 7, Florida hosting Kentucky. Never a doubt in this one. It was a little closer than the Gators would have liked at the Swamp, but Florida pulls it out 49-31. Quick look at the stats. Florida had 23 first downs, 585 yards of total offense. They ran 59 plays, averaged 9.9 yards a play. They rushed the ball 32 times for 265 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns, while adding another 320 and 3 touchdowns through the air. The Gators were 5 of 10 for 50% on third down. Looking at Arkansas at number 1, at number 21, Texas. Texas pulls it out 42-21. Quick look at the stats. Arkansas had 19 first downs, 371 yards of total offense. They ran 60 plays, averaged 6.2 yards a play. They had 20 carries for 101 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. And they passed for 270 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns through the air. And the Razorbacks went 6 of 12 on third down conversions for 50%. 27 first downs for your Longhorns, 449 total yards, 53 plays, 8.5 yards a play, 31 rushes for 269 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns, and only 180 passing yards for the Longhorns and 1 passing touchdown, as the Longhorns went 6 of 8 on third down conversions for 75%. Taking a look at your Week 7 games, Florida State at number 8, Clemson. Should be a good one. Clemson at home, stat line, minus 14.5. That's a big score on that one. A big difference in that one. We expect Clemson to put up at least 17 over Florida State in that one. Number 23, Ole Miss at Tennessee. That should be a good one. Ole Miss plus 14.5 in that one as well. Georgia at number 25, Pittsburgh. This one should be interesting. Pittsburgh at home. Pittsburgh is minus 13.5, but the game is expected. I'm telling you right now, I'm calling for the upset. Georgia over Pittsburgh. Number 20, Georgia Tech is hosting Virginia Tech. Number 18, Arizona at number 16, North Carolina. That should be a good one. Good luck to the Sun Devils. Looking forward to the Big 12. Number 6, Texas A&M at Kansas State. Auburn at NC State. Not a conference game, but that should be a good one as well. Hard place to play when you're playing the Wolfpack at home. Looking at the Big 10, Washington at home against Nebraska. Number 4, Ohio State at Penn State. Hard to play in Penn State, especially if it's a whiteout game, and we expect that to be the case. Stanford at number 19, Notre Dame. Michigan State at number 2, USC. Western Michigan at number 14, Michigan. And UCLA at number 1, Oregon. Oregon is expected to put it on UCLA in that one, but I expect it to be a close game, and that's why it's minus 10.5 for that game. Jumping down to the SEC, number 21, Texas at number 3, Oklahoma. That'll be a good game, too. Couple of heavyweights in that one. The Red River Rivalry. Red River Rivalry. State Fair, Texas, folks. That'll be a great game, but Oklahoma is favored heavily in that one, as the stat line in that one is also minus 14.5. LSU at number 5, Alabama. Alabama is expected to pull that one out. Here's a good game for you. Number 7, Florida at number 13, Miami. Miami at home is favored in this game. Minus 3.5, Miami. We're calling for Miami to pull out the win at home against the Gators. Kentucky at Arkansas, and Mississippi State at number 9, UCF. Taking a look at your Heisman race real quick. Winston Watkins Jr. of Ole Miss has jumped up into the first spot. Rocco Franklin of Ohio State right behind him has moved up into the 2 spot. Ian Okpoko Warwick of Clemson, the quarterback, freshman redshirt, has dropped down to 3rd. De'Ari Hill, the halfback for Oregon, has made the list. He's still on there from last week and making the list for the first time. USF quarterback J.C. Evans slides into the 5th spot in your Heisman race. Losing my voice. Here we go. Jumping over to your top 3 offensive and defensive performances of the week. We're going to start on the defensive side of the ball and do a little bit different. Alabama free safety, Vernon Lattimore, 7 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 pass breakup, and had a defensive touchdown on the day. Roll Tide, roll. Ole Miss free safety Quentin, 20/20 Walker, because he's got 20/20 vision, and he can see that end zone. 7 tackles, 1 tackle per loss, 2 interceptions, and 1 defensive touchdown for the Rebel. Ohio State linebacker Riley Pettyjohn had 9 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks on the day, earning him a top defensive performance of the week. Now for your top 3 offensive performances of the week, going back to Ole Miss. Ole Miss tight end Kylan Fox had 8 receptions, 187 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns in a tough loss to Clemson. Florida running back Jaden Scott, the Bayou Bullet, had 19 carries, 221 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 11.6 yards a carry. He also had 4 receptions for 21 receiving yards. And your last top 3 offensive performance of the week for week 6. Making his first appearance, Arizona State Sun Devil Duncan D's Nuts Grant, 18-25, 72%, 313 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and only 1 interception. And that is all I got for you this week, but we're going to say it one more time. The best nickname in all of college football, Arizona State Sun Devil Duncan D's Nuts Grant. Until next time, this is Coach Dub signing off.